Ivan Linblad deserves more credit than he's getting, or deserves more attention. This is an 18-year-old kid who jumped into the Racing Bulls car very well with the car and showed an extremely good learning curve when it comes to one lap pace and doing high speed corners. So now he went head to head with Lawson. So this is going to be interesting to see how he did against Lawson. The first Bahrain test, he was on average for one lap pace, 0.6 of a second behind Lawson for one lap pace. Then for long runs, probably a second and a half. So these numbers aren't great especially for long pace. But you got to remember that this is a rookie who's just coming into a car, hasn't learned how to preserve his tires, hasn't really practiced a lot on entering low speed corners, which are usually what's going to hurt people who have a lot of raw speed, like Antonelli when he first came in. But what we see is that by the time they got to the second Bahrain testing, he cut the one lap pace between him and Lawson from 0.6 of a second to 0.3 of a second, which is fantastic. Then over one lap, Lawson was beating him by 0.3 of a second, but Linblad was destroying Lawson in sector 2, but Lawson would make up in sector 1 and 2. And the reason Linblad was destroying Lawson in sector 2 is because that's high speed corners, and he was going into the high speed corners more aggressively than Lawson, and he has a U shape which is more efficient, and shows that because he's a karting guy, he was getting a higher apex because he uses his hand to feel the grip. And he's just coming off of karting about 2 or 3 years ago, and he's been doing F2, which is more like karting. He has a good feel of grip, just like Antonelli, and he's able to push the limit more than Lawson. So he's already shown that he can push the limit more than Lawson, has more grip, and is already faster in sector 2 of Bahrain than Lawson is. But where Lawson beat him was on sector 1 and 2, which have technical and tight corners in which you have to be skilled at braking zones, keeping the car stable, and being very subtle with your rotation. So that's why Lawson beat him, is because he's a more skilled driver, because he's been driving in F1 for 3 years. If Linblad listens and gets the right type of training, before next year, he would have already solved that. And my prediction is he will be beating Lawson over a lap within a year. Now let's look at his other weakness. In the long runs, his time was about I think he was a second and a half slower than Lawson. But when you look at their times, he was peaky. He was getting some laps which are faster than Lawson at the beginning, but he would tail off at the end because of tire drag. And this is where a lack of skill comes. He has not learned the most difficult part of F1, which is to pace yourself over stints, 20, 30 lap stints, to be able to keep your tires. So that's why Lawson was beating him. But this is a fantastic start for him. He's only 0.3 of a second behind. He's faster in sector 2. And in fact, his sector 2 is so fast that the time that Lawson makes up in sector 1 and 3 makes up for the time, but it's because he has such a drop off in those 2 sectors. So he's shown raw speed. He's shown an ability to learn quickly because he took the gap from 0.6 to 0.3 of a second, and he's getting higher. He's getting faster times on high speed corners. Once again, the corners that Lawson is beating him are in sector 1 and 3, which require a lot of technical work, knowing how to time your braking zones, knowing how to not go too hard on your tires, and also not being too abrupt, because Linblad is aggressive going into corners. If you can't be aggressive in low speed corners, you can go in fast like Verstappen, but even when he goes fast into low speed corners, he goes at a high speed. But there's a difference between speed and aggression. So he needs to learn how to become more subtle. But that's something that he will learn if he takes the craft of experience. But this is a great start for him, and people need to be talking more about this. An 18-year-old kid jumps in here and does well. Nobody's talking about it because he doesn't have times that jump off the page. But in the last testing, he did 134 something, which is good. Lawson also did 134 something too, so that's not so bad. So what are your thoughts so far, Labi?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 240 laps in test 2 was very, very impressive. And the long run pace, like you said, also was consistent. I think there was just a difference of a second or a second and a half.
1.2.
Yeah, so Lawson himself even struggled against the midfield might of Alpine and Haas. And then in terms
Yeah.
of reliability too, he was able to complete 165 laps in a
Oh
single
yeah.
day. That's exceptional, considering the fact that this boy is a rookie and is just learning the tricks of the trade. So basically, I feel during the initial test, Lawson's experience showed, without a doubt. He was able to hold an advantage of about 6 tenths of a second over Linblad. However, Linblad improved significantly by the second test, logging 1 minute 34.149 seconds lap. He was able to demonstrate that, he can close the gap and he has a feel. There's a feeling of comfort in the new car, in terms of the long run pace and tire deg, that will come with experience and more races. But both Racing Bulls drivers have a hard time matching the benchmarks set by the better cars, especially the midfield group of Alpine and Haas, even on
Yeah.
softer rubber. But Limblad consistently was hovering around 1 minute 39 seconds thereabout, or 1 minute 40 seconds, during his
That was average pace for long runs, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for long runs, yeah. So I think it wasn't too bad really, especially on C3s. He did much of this on C3s. So I think he will mature with experience. Lawson is much more experienced, and I feel as time goes on, people will get to see why he was promoted basically.
Linblad. Yeah.
Limblad,
Well,
yeah.
they're saying he's a generational talent. It's too soon to say that. Uh, we have to see how he would do in
So
a.
that's
In
what
a
I'm saying. That it would take time, but I mean there are signs to show that
I think.
it's
I think
special.
what we need to see though is that we might never know unless he gets a chance to race in the in the Red Bull car, because that's when we can see how good you really are. Because even though those cars are faster, they're more difficult. They're more difficult to control because they're
Control. Yeah.
more pointy
I
and
mean,
stuff like that. So
we
see
saw
how
how Yuki performed last season, so you're right about that. You're
Yuki
absolutely
said, I
right
could do it. I could do it. I could do it.
about
Now he's a test driver. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
so Hadja seems to be doing well in it, but we'll see. That Red Bull 2 car. I mean the Red Bull 1 car. That shit is a dangerous bitch, man.
It is. It
It's a
is.
dangerous
It
bitch.
is. That is a bitch.
She'll throw your ass into the barriers. So we'll have to wait and see. And Red Bull has, so it depends on how long Verstappen is there, because if Verstappen is there for a long time and Hadja is there for a long time, that's going to cause an issue there because Linblad needs to be promoted quickly.
Yeah, he won't get the opportunity if it remains
He
like
might have to go to another team.
Sure.
It depends on whether Verstappen stays. If Verstappen leaves, then he'll definitely be. I feel bad for Lawson because I think he's going to be the man. He's going to be the permanently in Racing Bulls too, sort of like the mentor for the young boys that come up. Yeah, we'll see. All right, very good.